Where's the Twitch window gone? So I completely forgot to cancel the schedule for Friday's thing. Oh wait, hang on a second. Let's get the streaming for it as well. There we go. Which building am I on? Okay, 40 unit a minute of aluminium. Okay, so one of the things I need to do for that is I need to actually bring the casing over here, which means I need to offload a whole lot of shit. Not this floor. I'll leave that there. Got a storage bin full of shit somewhere. Let's just get this shit shifted downstairs. It isn't really that far of a distance, but I don't need all of that cable. Pretty confident I don't need the crystal oscillators, that can just go into storage. I think the storage bin is full, so we don't need the computers. Same goes for those. Most of that shit. Lost track of which floor it was on again. It's on the computer floor. Go in storage. Let's go get the other storage bin first. Got plenty room for it, I think. Can't count. Crystal oscillators into storage. Okay, bin number 1, shit to see. Get the other bin. Why is editing showing on the tags like 3 times? That's it done twice, that's silly. shit. Then the plan is going to be to dismantle. Actually, no, I'm not dismantling. Yeah, I'm not dismantling it. I'm just rerouting it because, yeah. So there's some belts that were used for distributing plastic over here. They're no longer being used. Now the sign, I know one of them got repurposed, but the signage over there hasn't been updated. Which floor was it? I left the reminder sign. Here we go. So get 40 unit a minute of aluminium casing ship over here. One of the, like, if either of these two have been repurposed, they'll be connected to the lifts. But they haven't, so yeah. I'm only doing 40 unit a minute, so these Mark III belts will be fine. Yeah, so where is it coming down? Here we go. Oh, hang on a second. Are we using the Mark V line instead? Oh. Whoops. Okay, well, let's go get topped up on Mark V belt parts then. Why are they taking that route? It should be taking this route. Really not sure why I did that. Okay, well, like I said, if we've got a belt going that way, let's go inspect it at least. Of course, I can't see the damn thing up here. If we're making the assumption that it's actually all the way along, which it probably isn't, then we can have a look at where to do fit. If it's not all the way along, then I can just abandon the plans for the Mark V belt going that way and just use the one of the Mark III belts that's already running the length of the viaduct. Okay, so it goes... So it's this, it'll be this one. With the aluminium casing. Okay, so it's not laid the full length of the track belt has been dismantled. But it's still going to be kind of useless. So, like I'm going to leave what's in place. And then we can go get the Mark V belt parts. And pick one of these plastic lines to connect the aluminium casing to. And relate to the Mark V belt parts, because if there's a Mark III viaduct, then There's no point in running a Mark V connection to it. Some Mark III parts. Either one of those plastic lines will do. Yeah, that's the soap line. That's the circuit board. Which means we can't use that line, which means we'll have to use this line. Right. So we can possibly hijack it a little bit here. Actually, no, I don't need that stuff because the margin's already here. Cool. 50 units per minute is going in. Forty unit a minute of aluminium casing. Viewing to radio control unit. Cost of 60 unit a minute of ingot. Four. It's me for assuming that the power range extended enough here. I'd help to connect the supply line, yeah. Remember whether it was update 6 or update 7 broke that, but it's really fucking annoying. following previous patterns, then we're going to just hop downstairs. Well, hop downstairs, yeah, hop underneath the floor. That could have gone terribly! Well, okay, so let's update some signage. I'll just leave that to floor its way over. Hundredth and 150. First thing that's going to happen is this is going to be upgraded. Full pelt, so I'm going to need to add a couple more either side. it's all called getting the steel beams, and it's probably... Oh, hang on a second. Let's build the rest of the manifold in case I need to come back for parts. For which I need steel beams. Because we didn't leave any in the stash box. Oh shit, wait, there's me, hang on a second. See, me not paying attention to chat again for like the last half hour, so I do apologise for that. For the noise ratio, hang on a second. Well, I've got the volume set to satisfactory when I'm in the So lossless cut set to like stupidly low this thing. What's factory set to? Oh, sorry, full speed, full volume. Yeah. But I don't have voice meter. No, I've got NVIDIA broadcast on. So the voice to noise ratio, I'm not sure what I can do about that. Unless I can like do something stupid and like pipe satisfactory through NVIDIA broadcast and have that remove the noise of the machines. Because that is kind of what it's designed for. It would also probably help to not hang around the machines all the time. Lost it while we're here. There again, I do apologise for not responding to your earlier messages. The floating factory style. So, it's not technically floating. Technically not floating, kind of, because I don't have power over here, so yeah, I don't have pillars deployed over here, but there is a pillar here with a contiguous floor, so it's kind of suspended from itself. But yeah, I'm not generally this far underneath the factory often enough that I bother putting pillars in, because I just don't see it. So the way I tend to view the factories is like everything below the factory level is the basement, so the planet is in the basement. the height of, well, I'll say the basement level, the ground floor of the factories is based on getting a clear shot of a train out to, not a train. Okay, so yeah, basically what I do now when I start in Rocky Desert is I get up to the top of here, and then, you know, like, that's when I can actually start doing some shit. But then I need to set the actual ground level, so either from down here or from up here, I run a sky bridge. Oh, the tube's in the way so you can't see. So I run a sky bridge over to the waterfall, and then, well, if I just hop in the cold tube, it'd be easier to show it. So hop in the, so I'll get over to the waterfall, and then get a tile above the lake level. Just what I used to do was I would just build that straight out from here, and then just get myself above that outcrop of rock, and then just build from there. But then I ended up having like ceiling clearance problems when I came to build stuff in the Great Lakes. It's taken longer than I would have expected, because it's been a while since I came out here. You know, what with haven't needed to expand the coal gen in a while. So like I say, skybridge, and then it invariably involves ramps coming up here, and then that's at the crest of the waterfall. Like, this is about where the floor tiles end up being, because I'm working off the, you know, 4-meter foundations. So then that becomes the ground level for the entire, like, factory infrastructure. See if I can get up top. There we go. Got some boosted range because of the ceiling mounted power poles. So the factory style that you can see all the way from out there is ziggurat-ish. I used to have like the buildings completely vertical, so it would just have a sheer surface all the way down. Everything was in the same place, but that ended up having a lot of vertical belt spaghetti, and it was just like really unsightly. And I mean, you can see it best from over here. So with having each floor horizontally offset one tile in the X and Y axis, we can see the. Hang on a second. The hover pack won't be helping with the noise levels either. So well, you can't see this. I don't think there's any signage on there. Okay, there's some signage. So, yeah, perfect. So we've got these floors, these factory floors, each like producing one item. Like you've got two wall segments. One's reserved for the door. One's just to give space between the door and the belt, and then the first column after the margin is for the inputs, the next one is for the outputs, and then as you can see here, as we add more outputs, we like, you know, skip the inputs column and then output column, skip output, so on. Anything that is going through a warehouse gets priority in terms of moving around stuff. So that belt goes all the way down there and then scoots over to the warehouse, because This is a non-standard layout. Ordinarily, the warehouse would be down here, but just this being like the mineral plant, it just became slightly convenient to scoot some shit downstairs and bring it up, and then stick the warehouse out there. Incidentally, the original plan was that the crystal oscillators would be over here, but now they've been moved over here because I unlocked crystal computers. So anyway, yeah. So everything's normal on this ziggurat up until you get to here. So just ignore this shit. As you can see, setting warehouse belts as priority and having everything offset means you don't really deal with congestion or any funky stuff. Like we can see here, there's a belt scooting around that one, whereas what I could have done is... have I got any examples? Here we go. Belt lifts can share column, rather than having to do weird shit like that. I really can't remember why I did that one, but you know, there you go, did it. So yeah, ziggurat offset of shit means nice and neat belts going all the way down. Up until you start doing shit like that. And then it goes weird. Well, mostly like the reason why I have them externally routed is because you could sandwich layer some shit and have it like you could be having these exit the building around the side and then just pad out the sides of the building some more, so there was like an internal cavity that was used for the belting, and then sandwich layer the well down here, so sandwich layer the shit over rather than doing that shit I'm doing with the frames. It's just like I never really liked that style of shit. Just like this style kind of came about organically, so I've just kind of stuck with it. I used to run hypertubes up the sides of the buildings, though. That were a right mess. Stop doing it once I started using half a pack. Because, like, once a manifold floor has been set up properly, like, I rarely need to visit the, like, floor to modify it. Also, having non-accelerated hypertubes going up the side of the building is really slow. Like, I think the original layout for like these ziggurats had this building being like twice as tall. So, because like I think like 2/3 of that is just for steel, if not most of it, and that all used to be up here. And all of like the bottom floors of those are ingots. So like that floor's pretty much always been the warehouse. And then this floor would have been iron ingots, which would have been shipped up and down. And then if that needed any iron ingots over there, either I would have added an iron ingot floor over there, or I would have been shipping iron ingots all the way out there, which is just big giant waste. So ingots are now in their own little shit around here. You got water extractors for the pure recipes in the basement, and then ingots, copper sheets, ingots, 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 aluminium shit. Okay, yeah, here's like a better example of how the ziggurat layout works, because you'll be able to see the signs from over here as well. So, oh, hang on a second, I'll scoot backwards a bit just so I can get some lift off the hover back. There we go. Okay, so you can see the signs. Yeah, this floor's better. And so take this one for example. So we've got raw quartz going up for silica-based circuit boards, computers going down to the warehouse, and then copper sheets going up for the circuit boards. And they go up there, and then they're in. Just ignore the power poles, or just put them there on the back. Yeah, one thing that came in handy with this layout, like with the ziggurat layout, is needing to run power poles at the side of the building, and this channel just comes really handy for using the hoverback. So, you know. So yeah, the idea isn't the floating factories. It's more the offset is the key feature. The floating's just incidental because I can't be asked to go around putting the pillars in. Viaducts, on the other hand, I put pillars in for them all the time. Like I used to build like constant sky bridges, but then I just found it's really tedious to build them. But building like enough gap between a tile edge and a 4-meter foundation tile. Is it really like 4 meters tall? Is it really a tile? 4-meter foundation block, and then skipping over the next edge, like that works really well for nice consistent viaducting. And then there's shit like over, well, it's not really visible that side. Don't really have one that's really visible. Stick that in the height tube, you'll be able to see it on the way over. So rather than spreading the belts out equally, like symmetrically on the viaducting, I kind of offset them a little. It's not really visible on this one, but on that one you can see like I'm biasing the belting going to the west side, so the east side can have a lovely little catwalk going down. Oh, you can't see it now. There you go. Which makes it quite handy for traversing in those odd occasions where you need to actually, you know, walk. Well, like we said, it does like help a lot in terms of reducing vertical belts again. Not really so much when you end up doing shit like this, though. Like I did, I can't remember if it was 19b or 19a that I restarted for update 7. I think it was probably 19b. There you go. These are really handy. That's like I literally used to have sky bridges or floating platforms just sticking out in the middle of nowhere, just to get this kind of belt layout to work. Yep. And now it's kind of organised. It's a little bit of a maze when it's changing lanes like this. Because, like, which direction's that going? Okay, so this one's sending water up. And then because this copper sheet line was here first, the water line then has to run around it. So, like, if you're going to do it, like, you want to plan ahead as best as possible. And yeah, as for the extra entrances on the hypertubes, I'm not really a fan of cannons. Like, I haven't really got much use for them. Because normally what I'm doing when I'm playing Satisfactory is I'm clipping the live streams, so I'm not really in a rush to get anywhere. So just having like a sedate journey to travel on. So I don't lose too much focus, or don't like get from A to B. I mean, it helps matters, and if I was taking really short amounts of time to get between buildings, then I would kind of miss shit a lot more. Well, I still do like miss stuff when I'm clipping. It's one of the reasons why I stopped doing the Q&A segments like while I was streaming. I like having the sedateness. Yeah, there's another example of the offsetting. So some of this is like decommissioned because like this is the plastics refinery. We can see we've got belts reserved for some of the alt recipes. And then some slightly messy shit down here, just to like negotiate things, sending the plastic lines out and up. And you know, I did leave me like if you would start doing viaducting rather than using trains. Little tip. Leave yourself signs in really stupid places, because if you have a habit of forgetting what belt is what, now you can't really see because the belt lifts are in the way. When I was constructing this, it was really handy seeing which lane was which from all the way over here. Because when that facility was being constructed, I didn't have the hypertube installed, so quite often I would be doing the work over here, running out of parts, swimming over, and then getting in the tube over there. So, yeah. Oh, actually, this is an example of the catwalk thing as well. Yeah, leave yourself signs everywhere. I've got like terrible memory concentration issues. Signs like this, really helpful. Using the background to indicate what direction the lifts are going in as well, cause that design ain't helpful. I mean, we can see here there's an accidental arrow formed out of the belt lift design, and it's pointing in the wrong direction. Yeah, I have a feeling eventually that's going to go away, because one of the things they've said on the live stream is the way these are implemented is not very efficient. And I have a feeling that the way they would make those efficient is by like baking all of the signs to a texture atlas and having it loaded in that way, and the commonalities of signs might not make them friendly to having one single texture atlas. So you might have multiple texture atlases for all of the combinations of signs in your save, and then like let's say like this sign is also over there, so I can see some weird bug happening where I zoom in to those signs over there and the quartz shows it really well, but everything else looks like arse. If it's like an LOD thing, I'm trying to like find an example of that kind of shit. So I don't know if you can. Oh, no, wait. Oh, I thought I was in photo mode. So we can get the inhaler off. Get the half back off as well, because I got, you know, like the noise. So they've got a video on the Coffee's got a video on the YouTube channel about LOD, but we can see here that is relatively low poly-ish, kind of. Doesn't actually look that bad from this distance. Let's see if we can find a better example. Oops. See, do these ones look like arse from over here? Yeah, this is me abandoned Fixmas factory. Now, the LODs are actually loading quite well on the new graphics card. On the old one, that would have looked like awesome over here. Also, yes, I do kind of sometimes do spaghetti type shit, although it is neat-ish. Looks like spaghetti from over here. Have I got any power slugs around here I haven't collected? This is the point I'm trying to make, is that some of the objects in the world have got, like, kind of bypassed the whole lodding principle. I wonder if this will actually illustrate the issue better. So you can see there how the power pole looks okay, but the terrain looks like arse. Like, if signs get optimized, they might start implementing texture lodding in a way that makes them unreadable from a distance. I don't know if this counts as a lot of them. Because there's, like, for every belt going up and down, I've got one belt per floor. That may or may not be an issue. Anyway, let's get back on with building this shit. If there was a point I was making, I've completely forgotten it by now. Okay, so that's loading 100, so that needs a Mark II belt on through it. Yeah. As for me missing the Twitch chat, I used to use Twitch Studio, which had a nice Vulkan overlay on it, but somebody in Twitch's QA department didn't bother to test something properly, and they broke the advanced audio mixer, which is what you need to use if you want to be like streaming and not capturing your desktop audio by default. Because like not every application on my system has a streaming mode, and sometimes I just quite honestly like to get notifications. So if I had normal desktop capture on, whenever I would play stuff on YouTube that is just to my amusement and not necessarily not needed for the streams, you'd hear that. Anytime somebody sends me a notification on like Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever, that would come through on the stream, and it'd just be like, all in all, kind of a bad time. So with the advanced audio mixing, which OBS ours is just not as pleasant looking, like each application gets its own mixer, gets its own audio levels, etc, etc. Works really nice. Now, what Twitch's QA department fucked up on was under Windows 11, I haven't tested it on Windows 10 since I got the new computer. If you have a USB audio device and an HDMI audio device, ever since they had this update many months ago, it won't work. It'll list the application only if it's going out through the HDMI device. But as soon as you switch to the USB device, it stops capturing the audio for some stupid reason. And I don't know why. And Twitch are refusing to fix it. And unfortunately, you can't have the Twitch overlay in Twitch Studio running when you're not streaming. So I'm kind of screwed there. So Twitch chat is off on the left edge of the left-hand screen, where I can't see it. Because none of the standalone Twitch overlay options I've had a look at do what I need them to do. They're all just pretty much loading the web view in a really unpleasant fashion. Whereas what I like to see is like the toast style messages, where they just pop up and go away. Oh, hang on a second, I need to put it. Do I need to put it in there? Oh no, I'm fine here. Hang on a second. Which belt's the ingots? Top one. It's not going to fit there. Just trying to think, which design principle do I want to invoke to get the water from over here to over here? Now, it does have enough head lift. Obviously, that's the thing. Like, I do get like pissed off with Twitch like breaking the thing. It might not have been QA that was the problem. It might have been management. It's just like one thing if they're not testing for this kind of setup. It's another thing if management say, "Nah, don't bother fixing it." I've got 10 meters of head lift from here, so I can probably afford to hop over. I just, like, kind of won't like it. I'm pretty sure I can't squeeze it through. Because, like, yeah, like, that will not, that would not be pleasant. Yeah, it looks like we're going to just kind of mess it up a little. Yeah, it's a perspective I didn't really have a grasp of until I got my current job where I'm working in a much larger company than I'm used to. That might work. Centimeters short of it. That's cheap a little. There we go. I'm 100% sure that these are connected to the right fucking belt lines. Let's chase this out from. No, it's not. That means that entire manifold is now fucked because it's got ingots on it. Fuckly fuck fuck fuck. Right. There's me not paying attention to me on bloody design principles. Well, option one in these kind of situations is load nautilus it. Only I don't want to do that. Output for manifold goes on the bottom, always. Don't know how I managed to fuck this up. Let's put this back in place. And now the fun part is ingots could be anywhere in the aluminium solution manifold. There's also going to be empty canisters going up to... here we are. Empty canisters going up to the aluminium casing floor, which will be getting clogged because, you know, they're not meant to go there. Fortunately, we have smart slippers. Canister. go. And then aluminium ingot. Yeah, because of fuck-ups like this, I am going to consider doing that in future, because the layout for me input manifolds is like this kind of thing. So you've got 5 tiles, and then that's where like the distribution manifold goes, and then you got 1 tile used for bullshit like this, where I'm inverting the layer that everything's on. And then everything after that is production. So this side of the manifold for the splitter thing, like the splitters, is never used. So I could quite easily put a smart splitter on there just for this kind of bullshit. And that looks like it's cleared off. Oh shit, that's a bit of a whoops. Hang on a second. I can fix that as well. Oh right, I missed a bit. Fuck. Oh, it was only 1 shared buffer. You know, there's a buffer per output. So these ones will be fucked as well. That's working, that's working. So I think that's it all solved. Yeah, I used to have smart splitters on all of these output lines. The idea being that, like, this first manifold is usually the warehousing, so that one's guaranteed to get backed up at some point. So then that would eventually overflow in and then merge in here, so that, well, it's going to be an easy demonstration on the longer manifolds. That doesn't count as a longer manifold because it's just longer. Here we go. T-ring ingots. So we've got the smart splitters on the bottom. You got your manifold here, which would be going to warehouse. Eventually, that would fill up, and then that would overflow along here to merge in with this merger, which would then go out and then accelerate the rate at which this line's belting would get backed up, and then everything would overflow that way, and on and on and on, and then all the way back to the start again. So that if any of the production lines get backed up before the warehouse, that means the entire factory floor gets shoved into the warehouse. Now the problem is that leaves your manifolds idling a lot, and it's not always desirable. But what I've started doing now is only having warehousing getting fed into from all the other manifolds, but I don't always do it. Like this floor makes Caterium ingots, but Caterium isn't getting warehoused, so there is no warehouse line to get overflown into. However, find one we made earlier. I think I installed one here. Yeah, here we go. So we've got the return loop. So you can see this smart splitter on the output line is set to overflow everything out here, which then goes into this merger, which then goes all the way along to the warehouse line. Everything funnels along. And there's an awesome sink in the warehouse floor. We'll just skip down now. So every single bit of production from blah, 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 blah. Give me a second, I'll just turn the volume down on Satisfactory. Whee! So every single bit of production from copper sheets gets overflown to the warehouse line, which overflows into the sink. So the copper sheet floor is constantly in production, and water bottles don't get lodged inside the manifolds and stuck there forever. Because if I don't put enough empty canisters into the manifold that's doing closed loop water packaging, which I can show you down here as well. So I mentioned these earlier. If I don't put enough canisters in here, then they'll all just get stuck upstairs if there's not a sink on the output like there is over here. Because like one manifold will get backed up, and if it's the longest production manifold, that means practically all of the canisters will get stuck in it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, a little bit of extra fun. I know I'm meant to be doing some other shit, but I'm just going to show something off while I'm here. No, that's too far over there. So I'm just going to get up onto that floor. It is a dedicated oil redistribution facility, by the way. Bottom floor, well, just go through the door and have a look. It's semi-decommissioned and it was never fully expanded upon, as demonstrated by this spur. But the idea is this entire line was for handling like 600 units a minute of oil. Oh yeah, that's something I did as well. Like, this is a solid floor. Like, yeah. This entire floor is solid. I don't know why I did it. I just felt compelled to, like, have a completely solid floor for this facility. So, yeah. Explaining the thing. So the idea with this distribution facility was when this was before I like accounted for the fact that there's plastic-free computer and circuit board recipes, which I didn't have at the time. The 600 unit a minute gets split, like, all packaged on one line and load balanced into. Well, there was a manifold here as well, but that's been decommissioned. So the 600 unit a minute gets split up and load balanced downstairs, and then gets unpackaged and immediately repackaged, which might not make sense at first, but I had a plan. The idea was that this facility was going to be responsible for making sure that there was enough oil barrels going to each floor over there. So each destination for oil barrels over there had its own manifold, clocked precisely for what it needed, rather than just having it kind of loosely load balanced. It might be a bit over engineered, but it works. I mean, like, the rubber one's like even simpler because, like, I only need that much oil getting repackaged to handle all of the rubber I'm making. So, anyway, the fun little diversion thing that I put in a while ago. Okay, I'm just gonna, like, unequip that. Just pull back a bit. Nice little accelerated launch over here. Because I haven't put an express tube in from the oil refinery to the ingot factory. So the quickest way to get over here is just to screw it in through the back. And when I realised how often I was doing that, I just put a little launch in and then cut a hole in the wall. Alright, so the thing I was doing was going and tracking down items that were going places that they shouldn't have been. So I think I might have some empty canisters going upstairs, which I did. So the other thing was going to be aluminium ingots getting into this production line. Directions this belt loading in. Okay, so yeah, this is the input. So somewhere in here, yep, there we are. There's the aluminium ingot fuckery. Set empty canisters going forward. No outputs there. Nothing buffered that side. Realise I should have made that an industrial container. Sure there's no ingots buffered inside there, and we're good. I think that's all of the ingots sorted. Good. I leave myself an injection point for these damn canisters. Yes, I did. But confusingly, it's the top bin. There we go. Okay. I completely lost track of how much solution I need to be building down here. Let's go have a look. First thing to do is check, is that manifold properly clocked? Second thing to check is that manifold complete? No, it fucking ain't. The way the aluminum solution manifold is set up is a slightly more organized version. I can't remember if I was doing it in 18C or if I did it in 19A. Coal plant. Just sticking a coal plant in. Collects all the water, boils it off, and just sneaks some coal from the actual production line out. But it is accounted for on the signage, which I'll get to in a bit. No coal going in there, because I've missed some shit here. Thought that looked odd. The light wasn't on. Okay, I think. Why has that not got any shit in? Oh, because it's not plugged in. Here we go. Oh, for fuck's sake. What the fuckity balls? Fuck. Yeah, we're going to have problems with getting the Twitch videos automatically sent over to YouTube now because all the times I'm swearing. Yeah. Invariably, when I do manifolds this size, I end up forgetting to plug some shit in. And just because we've got ingots coming out doesn't mean everything's working. Okay, so we've got scrap going in. Yeah, that's working. Let's just dump the ingots into the production line because I don't need them on us. There we go. So there's a non-zero chance there's some canister on an ingot line or an ingot on a canister line that's just managed to evade me. And I'll find out eventually. Okay. Signage time. So that's reclocked for 150. Being spread over 5 of those. Why did I not put the coal on? Hang on a second. Why does that say foundry? Oh, I got the pure recipe. Yay. Let's go. Do aluminium ingot takes 60 scrap per 30 things. We got 150 divided by 30 times by 60, which is 300. Excuse me. 150 and 30, so that's 180. $360 scrap. 360. That's just 1-to-1 thing, isn't it? No, I'm reading the wrong side. Okay, so it's got 120 unit a minute of water coming out. There we go. $240 and 120. Yeah, didn't used to swear as much as I did. So to burn off 120 unit a minute of water, how much coal I need? Divided by 45. 2.6 recurring. Did they update the water on the sign? Yeah. Oh, right. That's because I haven't finished doing the math. Times 15. That's 40 unit a minute of coal. I'm going to need a third coal gen on there. And then 75, so it's going to be generating 200 megawatts of power. And I have 160 units of coal going in total. Well, let's get the extra coal gen put in. Yeah, I used to be like really good at not swearing, and then I ended up working for a narcissist who had a really toxic like office environment where swearing was not so much like permitted as it was practically encouraged. So wasting like the best part of a decade of my career in that particular role led to some habits which aren't exactly easy to get rid of. One of which is swearing a whole lot. One, I did just crack open a caffeinated beverage, but I think I'm going to end up having to put it in the fridge. I can feel my brain starting to go to mush already. Possibly explained by me not having a post-work nap. But I didn't have any livestream clipping to do today. Well, I had some clipping video, just like it was for the YouTube video that was like just over 2 minutes long, so not really worth firing up the live stream for. There we go, another thing missed. I don't really like floating pipeline junctions. The ones on the call generator kind of don't count. I've just realised I've missed a bit. Because one could argue that it's supported by that. Whereas if I had, like I've done it here as well. If I had like just that floating in the middle of here, it'd look wrong. If I could be asked, I would put the valve on this side so there'd be no backflow of water up here. But the fact that I've got this bump in the way kind of helps. Because there's going to be more wastewater coming out of that side than this side. So there should be eventually positive flow in this direction, which should overcome any flow from here, because that flow is going to come out of here and get split evenly, hypothetically. So that's going to be 40 units a minute, so we'll be 20 units either way. And then that'll be 120, I think. Did I count it right? No. Yeah, see, there's an example of my brain going to mush. So, one of the reasons why I stream, I don't consider myself a streamer. I am a person who streams. I will quite easily spend like 6 to 8 hours, like sometimes even 10 hours in Satisfactory, because there's a point at which your brain can just run on autopilot. And I found that if I'm streaming, at some point my brain goes to mush where I can't coherently verbalize what I'm doing. That's the point at which I should come off. So I've been streaming for just coming up on 2 hours now, and my brain's starting to go to mush where I'm like getting math wrong and shit like that. Yes, lovely little shadow casting bug. It's like, how's the sun getting through? Just the wall didn't used to be there. And there it goes and updates. Right. Yeah, so 20, 20, so that's line's got 40 in it, so that would have 20 each. So that's going to have 60 in it, but it's not splitting until it gets to here. So this 20, like this is like negative 20 is going to have positive 60, which means, you know, I don't know whether that means it's going to just override that negative 20 or if it's going to become positive 40. I'm not 100% sure how the fluid dynamics works in Satisfactory, and I really can't be bothered to read Mechanics Guide, which you probably won't be happy about. But yeah, the that having like 3 times the output of what would be coming back through here should overcome any flow rates. Then this would become a problem because you'd have 40 coming out and then like 30 trying to scoot in there. So hopefully that should just have the water all flowing in that direction, at which point it reaches the valve and then none of that shit can backflow into it. So, yay. So we're probably good on everything up until the luminous solution. We need 240 luminous solution. Which only has the one destination. So this floor just sinks the silica rather than doing something with it. Like, theoretically, I could be stealing copper sheets from downstairs and making circuit boards to sink those for slightly more points. But it's easier just to get a shot of the quartz, the silica that way. Okay, so this can do at most 220, and I need 240, so let's just go. Nope. That needs 180 water a minute. But I can only do 120. Fuck. That means these are capped doing 80 a minute each, which means I need a third refinery on. Now, granted, one of the things I could do here instead is mezzanine this shit and just have the water flow down and like not direct inject the water, but because I am indirect injecting the water, or inline reduction, whatever, I've got some shit to do. Add third refinery to bring production to 240 UPM. Nope. Get this saved. Well, yeah. My brain's turning to mush, and I've been streaming for 2 hours. I'm going to come off. I could keep on streaming, but I'd become less and less like coherent. No, I like the. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm doing that kind of production balancing. I'm just sinking the byproducts if I don't need to use them. Like the water, I can boil that and make bonus power. Silica, unless I was going to be like producing circuit boards over here from the start, not really useful. I mean, I could be producing circuit boards over here because it's closer to the copper sheets and the plastic, but that would mean shipping all that circuit board over. Might be something to consider for version 20 or 19C, depending on how this goes. It really all depends on what's coming in Update 8. If there's enough new shit coming in Update 8, I might start from scratch, but if there isn't, then I'll just keep going. Like I said, the earlier, the ceiling not cable mounts, like the ceiling belt mounts were sufficiently useful to have us restart, kind of. I think I restarted knowing that they were coming, and then just planned ahead for them, and then immediately switched over. Or some bullshit like that. Blueprints, I could use them. I just haven't had a need to yet. I could blueprint the viaduct components. So yeah, if version 8's got nothing in I need, I won't be starting. If it does have something in I need, I might restart. But at this point, unless it's like going to be a massive game changer for us, it would probably be like a 19C. So the same strategy, just slightly modified. Whereas if it was a completely like distinct strategy change, then it would be version 20. I don't work for Coffee Stain, so I have no spoilers. The only thing I can think of is like, if you've paid attention to Jason Snutt's face as much as I have over the last 3 years of clipping the live streams and stuff, you can tell when they're lying to a degree. It's not perfect because like I don't have that kind of I don't have that kind of level of facial recognition skill like inherent, but like the stuff that they lied about with Update 7, in hindsight, I could see the differences between them saying no about that stuff and no about stuff that didn't come in Update 7. So yeah, I think they like on the streams they have said stuff about. Let's just exit to the main menu at this point. They have said stuff about improvements to blueprints coming, but there's been no guarantee that that's going to come in Update 8. The "we can't say that" isn't the thing that's telling. It's when they say no. There's a difference between them saying no and they've got like there's and between like 20 and 40% certain that they've got some subtle micro expressions with how they say no that you can tell when they're lying. I'm not good enough at that stuff to not like to want to be confident in playing poker against them, but I am like I say 20 to 40% confident that there is a difference between them saying no and lying and saying no and like meaning it. I mean, we could test that theory and go back and have a look at like all of the clips of them talking about pipes before Update 3. It's like there is a point at which they didn't know pipes were coming, and then there'll have been a point at which they did know pipes were coming. Like Jay said recently, like he genuinely didn't know pipes were coming up until a certain point, and then he was told that they were coming. So it's like, oh, so everything before that the nose would have been genuine. Everything after that, the nose would have been the running joke. Yeah, I started with the Steam release because, like, I was one of those people that took issue with the Epic Store. Um, Now I just take advantage of all the free games. um, so yeah, I was waiting for the Steam release. So it was just after Update 3 that I joined. But I was in the Discord for like a few weeks before the Update 3 launch. But yeah, the Pipe Thulu thing, quite good. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna like fuck off and play a bit of Biomutant now. Actually, hang on a second. I think there's an Amazon order coming. When is that due? Something relating to streaming. Okay, that's due in 2 weeks' time. I'm getting a HDMI adapter for my GameCube, so I can start streaming the Zelda titles on that before I start playing Breath of the Wild 2 on my Switch. So I'm going to be trying to stream some GameCube shit on Twitch, which might not work because it's a 480i to 480p output, I think. Let's have a look. GameCube. Let's see. GameCube output signal. What signal? Resolution. So yeah, there's 448, 456, and 480 resolution. But I can't. I don't know whether I'm going to be doing like either like the classic stuff, like the original like NES titles first, or I'm going to do it in a chronological playthrough, which would mean I think it's Skyward Sword first. Let's have a look. Zelda timeline. Zelda timeline is a big giant mess, as we all know. So yeah, Skyward Sword would be first, and then I'd try to get my hands on a Minish Cat and possibly stream that. I've got Ocarina of Time, I've got Majora's Mask, don't have Link to the Past or Oracle. Like, I don't have many of the GameCube games. But I've got Twilight Princess, got Wind Waker and Wind Waker HD. I don't know if it's going to be easier to plug the Wii U in to stream than it would be to run the original version of Wind Waker. I think I've got Phantom Hourglass somewhere. Just can't quite remember that one. Don't have Link Between Worlds. Don't have any of the GameCube stuff again. Don't have any of the Tingle games. Oh dear God, somebody put on this timeline Tingle gets the Triforce, and that explains the Zelda CDI trilogy. Yeah. So basically, I think I might end up going for the chronological playthrough, depending on how much of a pain in the arse it is to get the GameCube working. I think Skyward Sword. Have I got Skyward Sword for the Switch? Did that come out for the Switch? Yeah, so I've got Skyward Sword HD. That comes with HDMI out, so that should work. So I probably end up going for a chronological playthrough if the GameCube device ends up being a waste of money. Yeah, I might be stopping mine with the Switch because spending all this money just to play on the Zelda, like participate in the Zelda franchise, is getting to be kind of a waste of money. Yeah, I don't know anywhere that rents consoles anymore. So, like, if I wanted to play them, I'd be kind of screwed slightly. And if they end up doing a thing like they did with the past couple of launch titles, where I think like Twilight Princess came out on the Wii and the Wii U, and I think was there a Breath of the Wild for the Wii U? Yeah, so there was a Breath of the Wild Wii U version. Like, if there was like a next Nintendo console that is going to look the best on that, that's the point at which I'm going to be thinking, it's like, do I want to be wasting all that money on that? Eh. Well, I don't have my Wii anymore because I gave it away because I kept my GameCube and I didn't need the Wii when I got the Wii U because the GameCube was going to be there if I wanted to play the GameCube games. The loss of backwards compatibility wasn't an issue. Um, I haven't really been into the handheld, like obviously up until the Switch. I haven't been into the Nintendo handhelds since the first Pokemon games. Um, I used to borrow like a family friend's SNES, like so we'd swap like their SNES for my Mega Drive every now and then. But the first Nintendo console was the N64, which I gave that away to my little brother who didn't look after it properly. So I got annoyed with that, but I gave it away, so it's really anything I can't really object to it. But yeah, there's going to be slight fun with the when I get to play in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask because the GameCube thing does occasionally crash. Yeah, if you've got a gaming PC, the Steam Deck isn't worth bothering with. Unless you find yourself sat on the toilet a lot. In which case, you could just like Steam Link or GeForce Stream. I think there's like third-party apps for the GeForce local broadcast stuff. You could just use your phone or your tablet to play from your gaming PC when you're stuck on the toilet. Like I don't use the Switch for mobile gaming. I haven't even powered it on in like months. Not about the whole thing of like letting Microsoft and Sony win. I really wish Nintendo would just release their games on PC. Solve a lot of problems. No, I mean like this is the Steam Link. Like it's either the Steam Link hardware or something else they discontinued, or GeForce discontinued their thing. I'm thinking of. We talked about it on LTT channel. Anyway, this portion of the VOD's not going to make any sense to anyone who's not watching it on Twitch. Because I have set up a second. Well, I say a second channel. How many channels do I have on YouTube? See, I now have 4 channels on YouTube. 2 for this like Satisfactory Archive stuff, 1 for myself, and then 1 for the gaming stuff. Because I didn't want Twitch to have access to my main channel. So because I don't have Twitch chat overlay set up, this portion of the VOD's not going to make any sense because it's just going to be me talking to myself and not saying Which this makes it worse. Your username is like Sauron the Mad. So if I'm talking to Sauron the Mad by myself, it's gonna be like really weird. Anyway, like I was saying a while ago, I was like, I need to come off now because I'm starting to get a little bit incoherent. My brain's waking up now that I'm not thinking about Satisfactory. But yeah, that's going to be me for the evening. Like I said, I'm going to like try and play some Biomutant. I end up at this point, I might not end up playing Biomutant. I might just like dick around and watch YouTube shit before trying to go to bed on what feels like 2/3 of a can of caffeinated beverage. So yeah. Mm-hmm. That's all for me. Goodbye. Oh yeah, thanks for joining. You can tell I'm not as like much used to streaming. I forget to thank people. Goodbye.